Welcome back to Red Hawk Media's Virtual Academy, and we are looking at day 29 here of content delivery. And we are heading into the home stretch. As most of you know, May 21st is like the last date that we're giving any new content whatsoever. We have some deadlines that are now set up in Schoology, which we'll take a look at in just a second, that are going right up to that time period. But for the most part, we are on the home stretch here. So for many of you, it's just a matter of finishing up strong and getting to the end and getting the stuff turned in. For a few of you, it's a matter of catching up and using the time that would be enrichment time to get in those assignments to me and get your grade in good standing. Let's take a look at Schoology here first. Let's send this over. Okay, and in Schoology, we've got some deadlines that are coming up here. Okay, for game design, I'll just go right down the list here so that we can see what's going on. Starting with game design, we have the micro game that is due actually tonight at 11:59. That's your last day to work on that. That's an introduction to the FPS micro game that's included on Unity. Take a look at the directions on that. In video production, we have the movie or show review that you're doing. That's actually a written component, and that's due as well tonight at 11:59. So make sure you get that in, make sure you follow all the formal instructions, follow the directions that are included on Schoology here. Okay, now upcoming assignment here, looking ahead to all the way to the end of the week, which is Sunday. This is game design, and it's another micro game that's included. I'll be talking about it today, but same kind of thing that we were doing with the first person game, we're going to do the same thing with this karting micro game, and it'll show you some new features of the 3D part of Unity. Okay, that takes us down to audio. Today we will be talking through audio. We'll actually demonstrate how to create an audio manager today, and this is in Digital Media 2. This is the final component of the game, and then after that you will be putting together all the requirements overall for what the game should include. So you'll get a rubric, you'll find out how many levels you have to create, and just get a completely, totally working game all put together here. And that's what we'll be looking at for Digital Media 2 today. Now, and you might have noticed that the deadline for that, for the audio, is also Sunday of this week, 11:59, so you got throughout the week to figure this out. Between today's lesson and Thursday's lesson, that should get you going. All right, so on Sunday, all the way on May 24th, you'll notice this is after that 21st new date thing, we have a radio show. The radio show is going to be the culminating project for Digital Media 1. It's a big one. It's a summative. It's 50 points, and that's the biggest summative that we've got for this quarter. It wraps together all of the stuff that we've done with GarageBand thus far. So you'll be working on that all the way till May 24th. 11:59. I've got a load of instructions on there. Each day I'm going to break down different parts of that radio show between today, between Thursday, and the next week, Tuesday, Thursday. And then finally, that takes us to web design. Web design is working on creating their final website, and we're using Wix to do it, and we are creating an e-commerce site. And that e-commerce site is got a lot of ins and outs of it for a fully functioning e-commerce site. We'll have a shop, we'll have different filters where we can sort products, we can actually put things in the cart, we can check out, we can do all those different things, and that'll be all created on Wix using all the features of Wix. We'll be taking a look at some of those things today and Thursday. Okay, excellent. That pretty much wraps it up for Schoology. And at this point, I'm pretty much caught up on the grading. So if you're not seeing something that's been marked in the grade book, make sure that you send me an email, contact me, let me know. I've been trying to go back and sift through the assignments here to see anything that was turned in late and add that on there. If there's still not something showing up that you know you turned in and it's showing up on Schoology, let me know. All right, so we're gonna hop on over to Digital Media 2. And Digital Media 2, we're going to be taking a look at the Audio Manager. So the Audio Manager is the last part of our game that we're putting together. It's an important part of the game. It'll include your music, and it'll include any sound effects that you want to add to your game. It's relatively easy because we have all the scripting pretty much done for us, and then we only have to create one game object and drag some stuff around, and it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to walk you through those steps today. There will also be an Audio Manager tutorial which I'll post later today, which will be like its own standalone video, and that'll have it'll be 2 parts broken up just to make it a little bit more digestible, so that you can go through that information here. But let's go ahead and take a look at that Audio Manager here. I'm going to hop into Unity, and let's bring that up. Okay, and get this to full screen here. We're going to walk through the steps. First, before we get going too far here, we'll take a quick look at an example of how this works. So I'm going to hit play. And actually, let me hop out here. I'm going to maximize this so you can see a full screen. Alright, and make sure that my audio is up here. So, I now have level music that's coming in when it starts. Okay. I have different sound effects on some of the things, so we can get that. So you can see a lot of those different things that are included now. Okay, and I'm going to mute that. Actually, before I mute it, one more thing that'll be like part 2 of all this audio is I can hit escape and go into a pause menu here, and I can actually go into the options. And one of the things that I can do in here is I can take master volume and I can turn that down overall. I can also take music, and I can bring just that down and leave the sound effects up. So I have some adjustability that's built in here for the game, which is kind of nice because people have different preferences with audio. Some people want to hear just the music, some people want to hear sound effects, some people want to hear both. So this gives you some options. And I can come back in here and resume, and there we go. All right, excellent. So let's get started with this process. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of play mode. And we're going to create an empty object first. That's the very first step. So over in our hierarchy here, down in the empty space, we're going to go ahead and right click, and then we're going to create an empty. Now that empty, we're going to go ahead and take it and rename it so that we can find this. We're going to call it Audio Manager. Boom. Alright, now I've already got an Audio Manager, and just to make sure that this isn't confusing, I'm just going to disable the one that I've currently got. Okay, now the Audio Manager is just basically an empty object that's going to be a holder for the scripts. Okay, so that's what we want to get. Now, the scripts that you need are actually included in the description below, so make sure you download those. You're going to get 3 scripts. And one of them you're going to actively drag on, and then the other 2 are going to kind of sit in the background and they're going to do their thing. So the first one that we're going to drag on is actually on the Audio Manager. So if we take a look at that, we have the very first script. So let me see if I can find that. There's 3 of them. Let's see if I can remember. We got set volume, we've got sound, and then we actually have the Audio Manager script. Okay, and that's the one that we're going to look for. So I'm going to come in here. I've got all those into a folder that's in that Unity download, and that's going to give you a package. So I'm going to go to my audio folder. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see what's going on. Okay, in that audio folder, we're going to be adding a bunch of stuff in here actually. The first thing that we're going to grab is we're going to grab this Audio Manager script, and I'm going to drag that onto my Audio Manager game object. So I'm going to drag that on there. Now once that's on there, you'll see that it is looking for a few things here. It's looking for what's called an audio mixer group. That's the next component that we're going to create. We actually create that down in the project area. And then it has a size here as well. So depending on how many sounds you actually want to add, we can type in a number here. And I click out of there, and now I can drop down sounds. And you can see that there are 5 different elements that are in here that I can add sounds to, starting with 0 up through 4. Okay, so I can add in those different things. I can actually assign them to different mixer groups. It's pretty slick the way it works. And the nice part is a lot of the heavy lifting is done for us. Okay, so we're going to, now that we've got the script on the Audio Manager, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here, and I'm going to create that mixer. Okay, so I'm going to right click in here. I'm going to go create, and then in here, in your options, you've got Create Audio Mixer. We're going to go ahead and click on that. And we're just going to name this new one. I'm going to call this New Mixer so it doesn't get confused with my old one here. You can just call it like Master Mixer or Music Mixer or Sound Effects Mixer or just Audio Mixer, any kind of name that you want, as long as you can identify it here. That's the big thing. Okay, the naming isn't so important, it's just for organizational sake. Okay, so now I've got this mixer, this new mixer that I'm using here, and let's go ahead and go into that. Now, one of the things that you won't see readily here is you won't see this. You won't see this audio mixer tab that's on here. Okay, so and I'm actually going to show you how to bring that up so that we can make sure that we know how to do that. I'm going to close this tab out. All right. You normally have just your project and your console tabs down here, but if you go over to the far right side, you've got these dots, or it's 3 lines in your case maybe, and then we can go in here, we can add a tab, and then we can add in hopefully maybe an audio manager. Oh, you know what? Even easier than that. We're just going to go ahead and double click on the new mixer. And when we do that, it automatically opens up this audio mixer tab. Okay, so now we're all set up to actually work on the audio mixer. And what we want to do is, in our mixer, we are going to create some groups in here. And these groups are going to help us organize master volume, music volume, and then the sound effects volume. And it's going to keep the 3 all kind of organized here, nice and neat. So in this groups area, I'm just going to go over to the plus sign here, and I'm going to add on a new group. Okay, this new group, the first one that I'm going to add is just going to be music. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to master again, and I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to add on SFX for sound effects. Okay, and now you should be able to see 3 different audio meters that are over here. We've got our master, music, and sound effects. Okay, so that's got all that created. I'll just hold there for a moment so you can see that. Again, I was just clicking the plus sign so that we can add those on there. All right, now next step. Our script on the audio manager was looking for the audio mixer group. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this master group here overall, and I'm going to drag that onto the audio manager and drop it in there. That way all of the sounds that get created get filtered through the master, and then they get divided up into their subgroups, music and then sound effects. And this will make more sense in just a moment here. Okay, so now we've got that all set up. And let's see here. Let's do the most basic thing that we'll want to do, because it's probably the big thing that you'll want to add to your game right away is some kind of music. Now, in your audio folder, you won't have any of these things. So you can go to GarageBand, you can mix your own music. You can go on YouTube, you can grab an MP3. Any MP3 or WAV file will work with Unity for the music. And there's actually loads of different resources that you can access on the Asset Store too that give you free game music. And that will allow you to bring that in and use it here. You just need the actual file. So if I go back to my project area, I'm in my audio folder, and I've got this song that you heard earlier on the actual level here called Hero Born. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another empty object in my hierarchy to add that song to it, so that this level, level 1, has its own specific music. So I'm just going to right click, I'm going to go empty, and we're going to go ahead and create, let's just call it level 1, and we'll say music, just to stay organized here. Now on level 1 music, we're going to add a new component that we haven't played around with yet. With that selected, I'm going to go over to the inspector. I'm going to go to add component, and the one that we're looking for is called audio source. Okay, and this audio source is going to give us some stuff that's going to allow us to drag in our WAV or MP3, whatever it is, the file type that you have. So now I'm going to grab my song from my project area, and I'm going to drag that all the way up into that audio clip and drop it in there. Now you can see Hero Born is up there. Now you'll notice that it doesn't have an audio mixer group right now, so there's nothing that's going to actually play or process this music. So I have to drop that one in there. I'm going to go to my new mixer, and I'm going to go into the overall, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to go into that new mixer, switch over to my audio mixer tab here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that music one. So let me reselect this, select my level 1 music, and I'm going to grab music and drag it in here. So now this will be actually on the music layer being played, and then it'll get filtered through to the master one as well. Now there is one more thing that I want to make sure, actually 2 things that I want to make sure of. One, I want to make sure that this plays on awake. So immediately as soon as the level starts, it starts playing. 2, I don't want it to like play and just stop. I want it to keep looping over and over. Okay, and that's the thing about game music, is it's designed like to loop continuously in the background. Sometimes it takes different cues and it moves on. Obviously this has become more advanced. And then the only other thing that I'm going to look at here down in the settings, I'm going to put the priority, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave the volume at 1. I'm going to leave the pitch at 1, and make sure that it's on 2D. And we are pretty much all set here for the audio source. Now if I did this all correctly, and this is a big moment here, I'm going to go ahead and mute my other one here. Level 1 music, audio manager, everything looks good. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to go ahead, do I need to have that on there? Let's try it as is, okay? So I'm going to hit play. All right, so we got our sound. So our level music's now playing. Perfect. I'm gonna hop out of there. So we got our level music. Now, aside from music, you're gonna want sound effects, okay? And those sound effects we're gonna add on into code of different scripts. So we're going to start with an easy one to begin with, because we all have this. We have coins that we can collect, and when we touch those coins, when we trigger them, they add on to the score and then they destroy themselves. Okay, now that's a pretty simple code to work with. So we're going to go in and we're going to take a look at one line of code that is going to be magical for you here, and let me show you that right now. And then we'll add that sound on to the coins and all that good stuff. We'll go through those steps. So phase 2, we got our level 1 music, created our audio manager. Now the next part is, let's get some sound effects going. So let me go to one of my coins. Okay, and I'm just going to select that. And again, I'm just selecting it in the hierarchy here. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that I can quickly get over to the actual script that's on that coin. So we've got that coin script, and it's got a few things that are on it already. We're going to go to the drop down here, and I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to edit that script. Now, I've already gone through these steps. Let me zoom out here. That's obnoxious. And let me put this up to full screen so we can see what's going on. Perfect. All right, and here is the magical line of code here. And I'm just going to zoom in on this here, bring it up a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Okay, and then bring this in. Now, what I did is, in the collision area of the script, so on the on trigger enter 2D, I went in and I added one line of code here. Now that one line of code is just basically saying that it's going to find your audio manager, and then it's going to play whatever the sound is that you've created. Now this is a chance for you to be organized with your naming conventions here, because this one line of code isn't going to be the same on every single script. It may be this way on the coin script, it may be different on the switch script. What I mean is this. In the quotes here, okay, and what I did just to make this kind of easier is I just copied this script so that I can paste it over and over. And I went in here, and between these quotes after play, I just come in and I added in because it's on my coin, I figure coin sound makes the most sense here, so I called it that. Now it's important that I remember that, and I remember exactly how I type it. Capital C, capital S, no space. And that's what I would recommend, no spaces, and keep track of your capitals, okay? Now once I add this one line of code here, I'm going to go ahead and save this script, Command S. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over to Unity. So let's see if I can just switch over here. There we go. And now once I'm back in Unity, I know that on my audio manager, I have a list of sounds that I can add. So I selected my audio manager. I go to the sounds area, and I have 5 sounds that I can add right now. I can always increase this as I go. I'm going to go to the very first one, element 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a coin sound that I have and I'm going to drag it in there. So let me go ahead and find that coin sound here. Oh, by the way, this is a super handy download that may speed up the process of you searching for things. Let me see if it's still on my asset store here. I'll bring this up so you can see it's totally worthwhile. It's got a lot of retro sounds to it, but it's kind of goofy fun. Okay, and one of the things that I did here is you'll notice in the asset store you've got the audio tab. And then you've actually got sound effects as well, so you can go in there. And then I'm just going to do a quick search because I remember this is called, the company is Zero Rare. And actually, let me back up here. Let me see, I've got it downloaded here. Make sure, well, it might be called Retro Sound Effects. Let me try that one. Retro. Okay, now if I don't do the filter, it's going to show up with a bunch of them that I have to pay for, so I'm going to hop over to the pricing here. I'm going to take the pricing and put it down to 0 and send that. And here it is. It's Sound Effects Retro Pack. Super handy. It's got a lot of stuff in there. It's got explosions, coins, hits, lasers, game over sounds, all kinds of stuff. Very good start to like maybe some of the stuff. It's the first one that I downloaded and it seems to have a lot of fun stuff in it. So backing back up here, okay, I'm looking for my coin sound effect here that I'm going to drag onto my audio manager just to bring this all back around again. So I'm going to go into my audio, I'm going to go into coins, and you can see I can select any one of these coin sounds here. Okay, now this all came with that retro sound effects download here from the asset store. And here's coin 1 that I've got selected right now. And I'm going to go ahead and over on the right side of the inspector I can hit play. And you can see classic sound. And I can go through these to see, oh, interesting. Alright, so we're just going to go with coin 1 sound effect to keep this moving along. I'm going to select my audio manager. And I'm going to, in the area where it's asking for the clip, I'm going to drag my sound effect that I found in there. So I'm going to grab coin 1, drag it in there, okay? And now I'm going to make sure that the volume is set to 1. I'm going to make sure that the pitch, it may not seem like an important thing, but I have to make sure that the pitch is at 1, otherwise I will not hear the sound, okay? And then the last thing is I want to assign a mixer group to this. So I dragged in the sound, a volume 1, pitch 1, and now the mixer group. So I go to my audio mixer and I'm going to grab the sound effects one and I'm going to drag that in there. Okay, so now I have a coin sound that has been a sound in there. Now you'll notice one last thing that I have not done yet is I have not added in the name. And this is where the part in the quotations comes in for the actual script. Okay, so if I go to the name, I need to type this in exactly the way that it was in my script. Coin sound, capital C, capital S, and then we're all good to go. Okay, now if I did this all correctly here, this should replace my previous coin sound. All right, and now I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and hit play. Let's try it. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that music. And one of the things that you can do while the game is playing is down in the actual audio area, in the audio, what is it called? The audio mixer tab. I can click edit and play mode, and then I can go ahead and drag this down while it's playing. Since you don't have the mixers, you don't have the sliders hooked up yet, we can go ahead and do this. And I've got the sound effects all here. And now let's go ahead and click back into my game, and let's get to a coin that we can get to. We gotta open this door first, trigger this. Okay, and there we go. And we heard our coin sound effects on that. Not too bad. And there they are. Now I can go through and you'll notice my switch is no longer making a sound effect here. So I can go and take that line of code here and start expanding my sound effects. So if I wanted to add something to the switch, we all have the switches in our games, so I can go in and add that one line of code. I'm going to go back to my editor here, Visual Studio. Okay, I'm going to grab this one line of code, just this one line here, right here, and I'm going to go Command C. Okay, now I'm going to hop over to my switch script, which is literally called switch. Okay, and I'm going to bring that up. And in here, it works very similar to the coin. It's an on trigger enter. So when I enter that, it triggers it to switch from one sprite to another. Now there are two, let's see here, two areas. Is that right? Yes. All right, and you can see I've already added my code in here, but I go into the on trigger enter. It says, hey, I'm going to switch this to the other sprite. It's going to switch a bool here, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste in my line of code. Okay, now in that line of code, obviously this is not the coin sound that I want to play. I want to play the actual switch sound. So I'm going to go switch, and we'll call it switch activate. Okay, and remember, no spaces, I've got caps, all that good stuff. Command S. Okay, now I hop out of here and I hop over to Unity, and in Unity I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to my audio manager. I've already got it enabled for 5 sounds, so I'm going to go to the next one after the coin sound, and I'm going to go into my project area, go to my audio folder here, and this is, let's see here, there's different hits, power-ups. Let's try a power-up. I don't know, let's see. Oh wow, okay, there we go, that's a winner. Okay, and go back to my audio manager, and I'm going to drag in my new clip. I'm going to name it accordingly, switch activate, exactly the same way that I had it in the code. I'm going to put the volume to 1, pitch to 1, and then I'm going to add in my mixer group. So let's go to the audio mixer, and let's drag on the sound effects one. There we go. And I believe that's all set now. So I'll hop back into play. Okay, music's coming in. Go ahead and destroy this. Oh, there it is. So we got that sound effect working now. Okay, now anything that you can, that has steps to it in code, you can go ahead and do that. So like on our enemy script, we know that when we land on the enemy, it destroys him. Okay, we could add in some kind of sound effect there. We could add in a sound effect for jumping. We could add it. Actually, I tried the jumping one. It was being a little finicky, so I tried the enemy one first, and then you know, try anything else that you want to add sounds to. There's a lot of neat stuff that's in here. If you want to add sounds to your saw blades that are rotating, you can do that. Just a lot of possibilities with this. And this is really the first step of the audio manager here. We've created the object, got the script on there, got some sound effects added in. We've got that one magic line of code that we're going to use over and over on the different scripts. Just remember, whatever you're adding the sound effect to, you want to find the script that is associated with it. So if I'm looking at the enemies, I want to go to the enemy script. Okay, the enemy script is physically on the enemy, and that makes sense that I go there. So if I go into my enemies here, drop those down, go to any one of the enemies. Let's see which one we've got here. It's that guy all the way over here. Let's get this blue guy here. What's this blue guy? Enemy 2. All right, I've got the enemy script that's on him. I can go in there, and I can do the same thing. I can go edit script. And then once I get in here, and I've already done this on the enemy here, I went down to the area where he gets hurt, okay, and I just added in before the game object gets destroyed. This is a key thing. So before the coin gets destroyed, before the switch doesn't get destroyed, but before the coin gets destroyed, before the enemy gets destroyed, any of those things that disappear permanently, you want to add the audio before that happens. Otherwise, the game object is destroyed. Once it's destroyed, I can't play any more code. Okay, so I go Command V, add my magic line of code in there, and now I'm just going to come up with a clever name for this. We'll just say enemy hurt. Okay, and now I can go back over to my audio manager and just repeat the steps that I did previously. Okay. Again, all of the scripts that you need for this are in the download in the description below. Make sure you click on that, download all 3 scripts. You will be using all 3 at one point here. And we have all the way until Sunday to get this put together. So in the first part of the instructions today, second part will be on Thursday. There will also be an overall audio manager tutorial that goes with this. Excellent. All right, well, that wraps it up for digital media today and should leave you in a pretty good place to play around with all those sounds. I'm going to hop out of here, minimize that, and then that's going to take me over to web design. Okay, on web design, and let's go ahead and do this as well. Bah. Okay. All right, excellent. So, web design. Sorry, coffee break. Gotta rehydrate. All right, so in web design, one of the things that we're looking at is creating an e-commerce site. We are using Wix to do that. Previously, you kind of did some research and looking at your top 5 sites for e-commerce, and we had a lot of different things. I mean, eBay, Amazon, Target was on there, Craigslist made it, a lot of different e-commerce sites that are on there, and they all sell different things, and they're all very good at selling that stuff. That is their business to sell it. Now, there are some basics that you're going to want to include here with your e-commerce site. Things that are relevant to every e-commerce site. So when you hop onto Schoology, I'm going to switch over here, okay, just to show this to you and make sure that it makes sense. This list has actually been whittled down a little bit to be more specific. But if we go into web design here, and I take a look at this e-commerce site, and then we go to the actual assignment itself, there's a rubric that's on here. And I'm going to bring that up, okay, so we can take a look at that. Now, these things that are listed here, and it's a very basic rubric. I mean, ew, meh, and wow, okay? But these are the important parts of all this. In any kind of e-commerce site that is worth its salt, they will have all of these things here. All of these features will be included. They're normal things that go along with any e-commerce site. And you have from now until May 24th to actually build this thing out, and it is your last assignment. So you've got plenty of time to be working on this and putting it all together. Okay, you'll have a cart, search bar, clear navigation throughout the whole site. Contact information, appealing photography, graphics, whatever it is that you're selling, it should be visually, it should look good. Color scheme, again, we come back to the color scheme, should be consistent all the way through. Your top selling featured product recommended for you, those are items that are included in most of the e-commerce settings on Wix, and we'll talk more about those as we come up. Showing stock availability is a big thing too, especially for like smaller companies. Filtering and sorting functions, yada yada. I can go on and on here. We're going to each day kind of go through some of the different features here so that you can add on to your Wix site. In the meantime, before you jump right into this, your first big step really in web design here, aside from knowing what it is that you're looking for here and knowing what it is that you're going to be selling, okay, is to find a template that you like. So we didn't do this step before, but when you hop over to Chrome here and we go to Wix.com, you're going to log in with your Gmail, which you had previously created, okay, and then you're going to actually go through those different templates here and find one that's specific to e-commerce. And Wix has a lot of them that are specific to selling products. So you want to take a look at those because it's definitely more set up in a framework that fits selling. Okay, so definitely get ready to take a look. I mean, the very first example that's on the homepage here, right? This is e-commerce at its best right here. You got a picture of the product, you got sample, you've got the actual cart showing up on the side. These are half of the requirements right here that we're looking at. So it gives you a really good idea of what this is all about and how easy Wix can make it. Okay, so those are your next steps here. What is your product that you're selling? Find a template, and let's start working down through that list of different things that we have to create for the site. It is a site, so it's multiple pages. You'll find that's pretty easy to do in Wix. On Thursday, we'll talk more about that process. Okay, and that pretty much sums it up for web design here. If you have any questions during the process, feel free to email me. Hop onto the Google Meet today or Thursday, but then we can talk at that point. Okay, excellent. Let me go ahead and hop back over here and get back out to the main thing. And that's going to switch it up to game design. Okay, game design, we're just taking a look at this actually. This is the current assignment that's due. I'm going to send it on over here. There we go. And this is Altone's 3D first-person shooter game that he reconfigured. You can see that he remade the level, added in more of those bots. He's got in a few more boss guns, I guess you can call them. They're just the bigger guns, those things right there. And then he's got more bots that are in there that are coming at him now too. So they're a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, so he's got a lot of the different features that are included here in his level build. And it's pretty well put together. His layers look different here. It's got, the whole game has got a different feel from the original. Okay, so that's nicely done. That's a great example of what we're doing as we're doing these reconfigures. Okay, excellent. And this goes on for a little while. He's got a pretty big level actually. It's quite involved. We're heading into a whole different room, into the open space. Yeah, very nice work. A lot of manipulation of the 3D shapes. It looks like he used the prefabs quite a bit here. And that's the idea here, is just getting used to our 3D landscape, which is going to bring us back to the next assignment. In the next assignment, we are moving on from the first-person shooter one to the micro game. It's called Karting micro game, and that's on Unity Hub. So if I take a look at that here, let me switch this over again. Sorry, bring this up, and here we go. All right, so here's the Unity Hub. This is the one that we're talking about, the karting micro game. If you have Unity Hub up and working on your laptop, you can go ahead and download this. First steps are to work through the tutorials so you can kind of get familiar with the actual game project that's all set up. It'll show you some additional things that were not included in the other micro game, so it is definitely worth it to go through the tutorial. And then your assignment is essentially the same. You are going to recreate your own level for the micro karting game. Screen recorded, uploaded to Schoology, all of that good stuff. So I look forward to seeing what those, how those turn out and what they look like. Everything is contained in there. Now, if you don't have access to Unity Hub, you can't get it installed on your laptop, you don't have permission to, any of those things, you can always just go to the description below in this video on YouTube here, go to that description, download the actual karting micro game. I've got the whole assets folder there, and then when you go to open it, you can open up that assets folder, and then you can actually start the game from there. So if I wanted to, I could actually navigate over to my desktop here. I can look for that 3D micro kart game folder, which is that zip file that you'll download, and then when I get in there, you'll see here are all the assets that are related to that. I can go right into the karting one, and then I can go down to the scenes, and then I can go ahead and open up like the, let's go to the main scene. I can open that up, and that'll kick open everything here. And then that'll pretty much set up my project. At that point, I can save it as my own project, give it a name, all that stuff as you rework the level here. The deadline for this takes you all the way through, I believe, to Sunday. Gives you plenty of practice with this so you can see all the different facets of this particular 3D game, which is a different style because first-person camera versus third-person camera, you'll see the differences there. The cameras are really the most challenging thing in 3D, in the 3D landscape. They make it the hardest to like make things work the way that you want. So take a look at that. And that pretty much sums that up for you guys in game design. Check that out. It's on Schoology. It's the newest assignment that's created. Perfect. All right. So let's see here. That takes us over to video production. Okay. And video production, actually, you have an assignment that you're wrapping up for today. And then there's just one announcement for video production, which is pretty exciting here. On Thursday, we have the preview for the 10-day film challenge. In the preview, we'll share it here on the live stream, but the idea is that they're going to show the top 10 films. They're going to give the different awards for the different categories, like Best Actor, Best Actress, sound, special effects, editing, the poster. There's a lot of different categories that are actually on there. And the good news is this: out of some 300 films that were actually submitted, we made the top 30. Okay, and I'm very optimistic about it because the main guy, he had actually emailed us about getting our poster, again, so that in a slightly bigger size, so that he could put that up in different places here. So pretty exciting. I am looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. In the meantime, wrap up your movie review, and then on Thursday you'll have some new content that goes along with that live preview. We'll take a look at that and go through that process. So pretty straightforward for video production here. Should give you plenty of opportunities to go back and get caught up on stuff if you aren't. All right, we're going to switch gears. That takes us to Digital Media One. All right, Digital Media One, we did the radio survey when we last met. And the radio survey is very telling, very telling. In fact, if we take a look at, I'm going to hop over to Schoology here. If we take a look at Schoology, we take a look at the newest assignment that's actually posted on there. Sorry, wrong course. Let's try that again. Digital Media One, boom. In the GarageBand unit, you've got the newest assignment, which is just called Radio Show. Now, previously, we had done the Radio Show survey. And on that survey, you listened to radio for half an hour, and you kind of recorded some statistics of different things that you heard. DJ, commercials, different types of commercials, content, how many times did you hear the station name, all that. And roughly, this is what you're going to come up with. On the Radio Show assignment, there is actually... there's a PDF that's included in there. Now that PDF has all the instruction, it has all the requirements, it has everything in it, and it is completely based off of your findings on the survey for that half hour of radio. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up here, and we'll take a look at it, just so that we can start talking through some of these features. And let's put that up to full screen. And we already, the nice part is, let's see if I can make this bigger here. There we go. We already completed step one. We already did the Radio Show survey. If you haven't, make sure that you hop on there, do the survey. Link is included on Schoology so that you can get to it. It's just a Google survey, so you can get on there, a Google form, so that you can do that assignment. After that, basically what's going to happen is each day you're going to get some instructions for different parts of the radio show that you're going to start putting together. The deadline, this is our last project. This is the big one. This is the last project basically for the year. This is going to take us up through May 24th. This is what you'll be working on putting together, and you're going to see why it takes that amount of time. And then there won't be any more digital media assignments here. This will be the culminating assignment that will wrap up the year. Okay? You're going to create 30 minutes of radio show. Now that sounds daunting, but if you look at the very next thing that's on there, you'll have about 5 to 6 songs. And those 5 to 6 songs will be genre of choice, school appropriate songs that you can include. And if you have to edit some of the songs, if you have to go in and filter some of the language, bleep things out, anything like that, you know how to do that in GarageBand, which is what we're using to put all this together. This is really going to be your second step here. So after completing the survey, you're going to download your playlist. Okay, so what are your 5 to 6 songs of choice? What kind of radio station do you want to make this? Is it going to be rock? Is it going to be pop? Is it going to be hip hop? It's up to you. It's completely up to you. But once you decide on that genre, you're going to come up with a song list. Now, it may not be a genre of music. It may be like a genre of radio station. So like, let's see here, 101.5 WIBA. It's classic rock. Now, classic rock is a really big category. There's a lot of stuff that they can draw from there. I mean, once something gets to a certain age, it becomes classic rock. You could say the hits, Well, it could be pop hits, it could be rock hits, it could be 80s hits, it could be all kinds of different themes here. So however you want to make that song list, that's completely up to you. But 5 to 6 songs, use one of the YouTube MP3 downloaders to grab the music that you need. And you're going to start taking those into GarageBand. Make sure you create a new project and start dragging those songs in there. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about some of these other features, because if you look at the next steps here, step 2 is to get the song. Step 3 is going to be talking about DJ drops and DJ transitions. Well, DJ drops to begin with, and we'll talk about what exactly those are and how they look and work and all that good stuff. Excellent. So that should get us well on our way to the end of the year here. Go ahead and make sure you step through those first few hurdles here. Don't wait till the last minute to do all of this, because it's going to be brutal to try to record it. The beauty is you are at home, so recording a lot of this stuff is going to be much easier for you, because for the first time you're actually going to be recording your voice and including that into your project. You will be the DJ for your own radio show. Okay, excellent. So that should get you started on that road here on the final project, and that should pretty much wrap up what we've got going on today for everything. If you need to, let me just transition on back here as I give the classic signpost to we are heading into the end here of all this. Make sure that on Tuesdays and Thursdays you hop on the Google Meet. I'm on there from 11 to noon. Get on there, talk with me about different things pertaining to your work. If you have any questions and you need help with any of that stuff, make sure that you hop on there. If you can't make that time, shoot me an email and schedule a time, and we'll talk and we'll work through whatever it is that you need to be working on. Just make sure that you reach out to me. The biggest mistake that I've been seeing is people keep waiting. Oh, I can figure this out. Oh, I've got this, and all that. Let me know what's going on. If you're struggling, just drop me an email and let me know. Okay, excellent. That should pretty much wrap it up for today, and that's going to take us into the end here. Thanks for joining us for another Brett Hawk Media Virtual Academy. This is day 29 that we're wrapping up here, and you guys have a wonderful Tuesday here. Enjoy the nice weather.